Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Meg. So today I'm going to be doing a book review on a book I finished 2 nights ago. It is called The Hell I Carry. It is an autobiography by a man named Lucas Deron, Derion. I might not pronounce that right, but this is the album cover, or book cover for it. This is a free book on Amazon Kindle books. This is a book that I finished 2 days ago. I was gonna do a review on it yesterday, but a I didn't quite know if I wanted to do a review on it or not, because it's an autobiography and things in it are very truthful. So, the author who wrote it, I feel like he wrote it because he needed to tell his story, and he feels he needed to tell his story. It is not an easy story to read. He was a kid who was abused as a young boy, by both his mom and the guys that brought his mom brought home. Was really abusive to him. He ended up in a foster home, and then in a group home, and then again in a foster home. And it's his story about what went on during those times. There's a lot of content in the book that is hard to read. So if abuse and kids and, sexual abuse and emotional abuse, physical abuse, if that's something that affects you, if you are hearing about it or reading about it, you don't want to read this book because it is really gruesome and horrifying. I want to read the first paragraph to you because I think that this kind of will put into perspective why he wrote the book. And I think that's the most important thing that you take away from reading this, if you choose to do it, is why. What was his why for reading or writing this? What was his why for writing this? So in the prologue, this is how it goes, and I'm going to start reading this a little bit. I am not a writer, but I am passionate about my story. Though it has not always been this way, I used to believe that I would carry most of these secrets with me to my grave. But I would often ask myself, what good will they do me then? Between these two covers across these white pages, I have tried with great effort to stick to the facts. This story is not eloquently written with fancy words meant to stimulate the imagination. It's just simply told. There's some dialogue, my attempt to breathe life back into these bits of memory. The names of all parties involved have been changed to mask their identities, though there are some individuals based on our relationship that even with masked names are easily identifiable. My biggest reason for sharing these recollections is to piece together the past so that I may, in light, understand the man I have become, so that I might be able to explain to some degree why I've hurt the people and have simply tried to heal my broken mind. Women, good women, would crumble at my feet as I surged through life on a path dominated by destruction and self-loathing. Why? They would constantly seek formidable answers in an attempt to find some underlying meaning to my barbaric behavior. My answer, however, it is not as simple as the question. To those who have asked me why, I hope this story provides you with some closure and reassurance. When I said, it's not you, it's me, I meant it. I'm a selfish human being. This I am aware of now. This is one of my many flaws, and that I have come to accept. And though I have accepted it, I know that there is always room for improvement. I am improving, but I am not perfect. I had hoped that by reliving these moments in my own words, I would find peace in my own story so that I, with the professional support of a therapist, could finally begin the healing process. So he did go on. I said I was going to read the first paragraph. That was 3 paragraphs. Sorry. But he then goes on to say, and this is a little snippet, to my foster mother, forgive me for going against your wishes and publishing this piece. My intentions were not to disturb the peace that you have finally found, but simply through the art of storytelling to find my own. I know that your intentions were always pure and your character had, for the most part, been selfless. There are many children in this world that will die, never having known the warmth and comfort of a mother's love. I, fortunately, will never be one of those children. So that, I will stop there. I will tell you, this book is very hard to read. Don't read it at night, because when you do, your mind goes every direction possible, and it's so dark and so sad and horrifying that the thought of a small child going through what this person had gone through, the fact that he is still there trying to do what he's doing and went through what he went through and used the best of what he could to deal with it is pretty commending for that. So a couple of little things. It is a free book. I would suggest you read it if you're not easily triggered by things that contain abuse and stuff like that. He talks about the foster care system, and I don't want to put my own personal viewpoints on anything because I want to be unbiased with this. So I'm not going to go there on any of it. But it's hard. It's hard. Especially when, we all know that this stuff goes on, but it's hard for somebody to have gone through that and tell about it. Usually what stays in the past with that is locked away, hidden forever. Nothing ever comes of it. Nothing ever comes out of it. You don't ever talk about it. That's what happens a lot of times with things like this. But this book was a good read because it gives you an aspect of what life was like for people who are not in your circumstances or have had any of your circumstances. And if anybody is watching this review and you're curious, because you might be able to relate to this, it's pretty rough. It's a rough book to read, a rough book to think about. It has a lot of things that are rough. There's some drug use in it. This is a hard book. And the fact that it's, based on truth and it's an autobiography is what makes it scary. Because you don't ever want to think of yourself or your kids or your family or your friends having ever gone through this and not saying they've gone through this. But it is a possibility, and you never know anybody's paths before you've met them, or you've only heard about it, or, you just don't really know. It was really good. There was one part in it that really got me. It was towards the end of the book. He ends up losing a kid, one of his baby, to SIDS, and that got me. That was a really hard chapter to read in that, because it seemed like he was just getting things right together and that had happened, and that kind of really hit home on me, because as a parent I know that fear of that is very real, and you don't want that to happen. You want to do everything in your possibility to make sure that that doesn't happen, but that's out of your control. You don't have control over that. Overall, this book was great. He tells you he's not an author. There are some errors in the book, some punctuation and word change and wrong use of word, stuff like that, very minimal. But he warns you about that in the prologue, so you can't really get upset about that. But it was good. It was a good book. It's not something that I like reading at all. I don't like reading that stuff because I get so involved in my books that I feel like they're my friends. And having a friend who have had that happen, it was hard reading. It was hard reading. It was very hard. And he also includes images in the book of certain things, like a list of rules that his foster father had made. That was a little weird, and I'm not going to get into that. The images are real. The pictures that he's showing you are real. Some are of court documents. Other things are not. It's very hard. It's a hard read. It's a hard read. Hard read. Read it with caution. Read it with the utmost caution. Don't read it at night. Don't read it if you're in a bad mind space. Don't read it if you're depressed about anything. So don't read it if you think you might be depressed about something. Just don't read it. But I can't say don't read it ever because it enlightened me about what other people's lives are like. And this is a true life, and this is what happens in the world. And it just kind of shows you that the people you think you can trust, sometimes you can't, and you have to be super cautious. And as a parent, you need to realize that you need to read between the lines with your kids. Read between the lines with your kids. Talk to your kids. Make sure your kids are telling you what's going on. Make sure you know what's going on. Be involved. Be a parent. Yeah, that's what I got to say about that one. Again, it is called The Hell I Carry by Lucas Derion, Derion. Might not be pronouncing that right. This is what the book looks like on Kindle. There will be a link in the description to that book. But again, I gave you a ton of warnings, so if you come at me and be like, I'm going to shut you down because I warned you. But, alright, so that's it for today for this one. I do have one more I need to do because I didn't do one yesterday because this book had me a little bit miffled. So I have one more completely different book. We'll be going over that one, and so I'll be uploading 2 videos today. So thank you for listening, and bye.